Do you often feel like you need to take up more and more classes? If you are always under a sense of inadequacy, that you are lacking conceptual clarity, or if you think that your preparation is inadequate and your mind is secretly suggesting you that one particular lecture is the missing piece in your CA preparation puzzle. If you feel like, okay, I just need to watch that rapid revision lecture from that renowned faculty. If I do that, my preparation will be sorted. If you are thinking in those sort of lines, then definitely don't skip the video and watch it till the end, because I have some important information for you. This video is broadly divided into 3 segments, where in the first segment I will convince you why the need to take up classes again and again is a secret form of procrastination. In the second segment we will talk about the illusion of conceptual clarity and how to get conceptual clarity. In the third segment, we will finally talk about some action steps of how to conquer this feeling once and for all and how to take your CA preparation in the right direction. So let's get into segment number 1. The tendency or the wanting to watch classes again and again is a secret form of procrastination. In other words, it is procrastination in disguise. Let me tell you why this happens in the first place. Imagine you already know that if you need to clear CA, you have to sit and study. Self study is the final solution, but self study is not easy. Sitting with a problems book, accounts book, or AFM book and trying to solve problem is not a comfortable feeling. I totally agree. But because it is difficult, because it is overwhelming, our mind naturally asks for a secret diversion, which is procrastination. How do we procrastinate naturally? Most of the students procrastinate in the form of watching reels on Instagram, binging movies and series, or playing video games. These are the natural coping mechanisms that we resort to. But there is this quiet set of people who think that I cannot sit and study, I'm too scared to do that. I cannot sit and watch Instagram reels. My moral conscience does not allow it. So what is the solution? Okay, let me buy this class of this faculty, let it run for 50-70 hours. I will pay some 7,000 to 10,000. Everything will be sorted. It is not quite sorted yet. Please understand that. Let me tell you 3 more truths in this regard. The first is watching classes is comfortable and passive consumption. Because what happens when you decide to watch classes? You just sit back and relax and just passively consume if it is a theory class. And if it is a problem paper, then maximum you have to do is watch the classes and take notes. That's the maximum you have to do. You don't have to actively think, or you don't have to come up with any idea, make mistakes. It is very low risk activity. So your mind naturally finds that as a comfortable pastime. But understand that it is still a comfort seeking mechanism. It is still a passive consumption mechanism. So that's the first point I need you to keep in mind. The second point I need you to keep in mind is it is similar to running on a treadmill. Running on a treadmill will involve a lot of activity, but how far can you travel? You will not move 1 inch. You will be running at the same place. So watching classes again and again is exactly like trying to run a marathon on treadmill. You will feel like you are doing a lot of activity, but you have not gone 100 meters ahead also. You are just swimming in the same place, you are just running in the same place. So that's the second point I need you to keep in mind. The third point at this segment I need you to keep in mind is at some point you have to sit and do self-study if you have to crack a CA examination. At this point, a lot of students will come up with the next set of questions that, okay, I agree that I don't have to watch lectures, I have to do self-study. But I watched my classes long time back, I've forgotten whatever that has been taught. That's first argument that they say. Or the second argument that they will come up is, okay, I watched the classes recently, but I don't feel like I paid attention to the lectures enough, so I don't have conceptual clarity. How do you expect me to proceed with problem solving or attending questions if it is a theory paper? So that takes us to the second segment of this video, which is the illusion of conceptual clarity. I call this illusion because you don't arrive at a magical state of conceptual clarity. Say you have taken up a class of 50 hours from a faculty. So all throughout the 50 hours, you don't have any clarity about the paper. But by the end of the last minute of the last lecture, at the end of the 50th hour, now you get conceptual clarity. It never happens like that. I will tell you why. Because what we normally think is that we let the faculty teach, whatever the faculty says, we think it goes into our ears, and just because his or her words get into our ears, slowly some brain will do some magical processing, and then we achieve conceptual clarity. This is what we think. We think that just merely by hearing whatever the faculty tells, we will get the state of conceptual clarity. And if it doesn't happen once, then we think we need to iterate this loop. So we try to do, okay, let me do the second round of classes, or let me buy the third round by buying from a different faculty. Okay, so third time's the lucky. Something we think like that. But what actually happens? What actually happens is the faculty teaches, you listen to whatever the faculty teaches for that particular concept. After the first time hearing, it will contribute only to 20% of the total learning that is required. It gives you only 20% of progress. Then what you have to do, you have to come home, sit by yourself, shut down all the distractions, and start doing a lot of trial and error. You have to do a lot of tinkering with a particular problem. This you have to do without being fully prepared, with only 20% of that preloaded learning in your brain. You will not reach 100% of thoroughness, and then you think you can start preparing for the problems, and then you will finally be able to be ready for the exam. It never works that way. At least 5 times you should be doing a problem and getting it wrong. So only then you yourself will create conceptual clarity. Conceptual clarity doesn't happen automatically right after you hear the lectures. You hear the lectures, you open a lot of loops, you open a lot of questions, you sit with your book, do a lot of tinkering, do at least 5 rounds of trial and error, then you will get that conceptual clarity. So we miss this part, we miss this trial and error part. So that concludes segment number 2. That leads us to segment number 3, what is the solution? The first solution that you need to understand is get your hands dirty. When I was working in corporate, I used to have this notion that I am a chartered accountant, so I am a white collar. I will not do any blue collar type of jobs. So I used to think that I worked in internal audit, so I will get all the points by just tapping the system, go into SAP, go into the software, do some work in Excel, keep tapping Excel, and I will automatically get audit points. My boss said that if you work in internal audit, at least 2 hours a day you have to spend inside the factory, spend inside the warehouse, go where the action takes place. Avoid this, I will sit in this AC room and be in this corporate white collar mindset. Adopt a workers mindset, adopt a blue collars mindset, go and talk to the workers, go where the action takes place. Get your hands dirty. He used to give me this rule, at least 1.5 to 2 hours, spend inside the factory, spend inside the warehouse, do this for 10 days, and I'm sure you will get enough number of audit points. And that's exactly actually happened. So that's the first point I need you to keep in mind. Get your hands dirty. Which means opening up an amalgamation question, hiding the solution, trying to solve the problem all by yourself. It involves minutes and minutes of uncomfortably sitting with not figuring out anything for sessions altogether, questioning about your future, questioning about your life, questioning about your existence. All the self-doubts should come, but you still sit with that problem. Let 30 minutes pass, let 40 minutes pass. Let it be the situation that in the first try, after 40 minutes, you just did only 20% of the problem. Totally fine. Every effort counts. Then you do an assessment. An assessment. What happened? What happened wrong? What went wrong? Then do one more time. Then do one more time. Then they repeat this process entirely a couple of more times. So that's the first point I want you to keep in mind. Get your hands dirty. The second point is increase your tolerance for errors. What I've written here, your expectation, your baseline expectation multiplied by 10. When you try to solve a problem, we subconsciously have a baseline amount of expectation. How many errors do I allow myself to make while I do this problem? You have to come up with a number. Your mind should come up with a number. Let's say you are okay with yourself making 10 errors in this question. If you make anywhere between 0 to 10 errors, you are okay with yourself. But beyond 10 errors, you will start to criticize yourself. So let's say this is your normal pattern. Now I want you to multiply your baseline by 10. Your tolerance for error should be 100. So when you sit with a problem, be okay if you make 100 mistakes also. Okay, let me share my story also here. Whenever I am shooting a video for this YouTube channel, you might already know that I have this talking to camera issue. I speak very fluently, very freely when I am talking person to person. But when it is about talking to the camera, there is some subconscious fear that is not letting me do the points very naturally. Some people do it effortlessly, but it doesn't come naturally to me. So I accept that. So my mind has a baseline allowance of, let me do 40 to 50 takes per video. For a 10-minute video, I have a natural allowance to get 40 to 50 takes. Now I applied this principle to myself. I can allow myself to make 300 takes per video. It's okay to make 300 takes per video. Don't be self-critical about it. Maybe, I don't know, I might have already done some 70 to 80 takes until this point in the video. It's not feeling good, I will say, to be honest. But at least I will have that there is nothing wrong with me. I don't have to be too self-critical. Making mistakes is again not a comfortable feeling, even for me till date. So it must be even more difficult for you, but at least you have to start somewhere, right? So if you have a naturally lower tolerance towards mistakes, increase that by 10. So think in this way that, okay, I'm going to do an amalgamation problem. I normally do 10 errors. Let me allow myself to make 100 errors today. Let me not press any panic button until I make 100 errors. I'm sure that you will be making much lesser than 100 errors in any single practice session. So that's the second point. The third point and final point that I want to mention here is maintain an error log. So the rough format of this error log is like this, just a 3-column format: date, subject, and the very error that you have made. So date you will have whatever the date that you are practicing, and then the subject, whatever the subject that you have. The error column, you just write down what was the actual error that you committed. Write it in a briefly specific manner. Here I have written purchase consideration wrongly computed. Then you write the specifics after that. First state the error and then write the specifics. Specifics, I mean what page number, what illustration number or book back question number, those specifics. Let the error log notebook be next to you while you do the problems. Whenever you catch yourself making an error, or you made the error before and now you are doing self-evaluation of your problems, now you are getting cognizant of the errors that you made previously. So whenever you get to know that you have made errors, whenever you got it into your awareness, immediately open the log notebook and write it down. You will have no idea in 10 days how many errors you can spot yourself making. And maybe after a month of doing this properly, you look back of what all the errors that you have committed, what are all the learnings that you have made. You will have no idea that if you follow this practice religiously, how much learning curve accelerates for you. For example, the first time you made this error and you have written it in your log notebook, very, very rare possibility that you make this error once again. And finally, I want you to understand that CA preparation is not consumption. CA preparation is active iteration. So stop consuming and start iterating. I will see you in the next video. Thank you and bye-bye.